you're getting the right idea, but there could be a little more to it than that. I got a feeling. And like I said, I really don't want to delve into it yet because I think I can see it, and it's starting to ring up. But yeah, but we're getting the general idea.
I'm just kind of wondering, Michael, if he had his implant removed, if then he had a couple more encounters of seeing UFOs, if they reimplanted him afterwards, just to keep it up with what was going on.
Well,
yes, yeah, that would be fascinating in itself. A study of people who have had implants removed to see if they are reimplanted. Now that's another thing for a follow-up physician to take up Dr. Leir's mantle and potentially find out further information regarding that. That would be an interesting thing if it does happen.
Well, Art Bell asked Dr. Leir that question, and that's one of the things Dr. Leir was going to check into or get involved in to see if any of the patients that he removed him got reimplanted.
Curiosity was up.
Wow. So again,
interesting.
Now, Michael, have you had that problem with lights yourself, or just people that that they walk up and the light goes out?
Yes, Gary, that is my story. And matter of fact, is probably 10 years ago, I finally came across this idea on the internet that someone was talking about the slider syndrome. And I wondered what the heck that was. I looked into it. Slider, by the way, is just an anachronism for streetlight interruption syndrome.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be just streetlights. It could be computers. People can't wear watches. They stop.
Hey, now this, I'm glad you mentioned this. My wife, Linda, you can buy her a watch. Okay? I don't care if it's a digital watch or a mechanical watch. I'm not lying. You give it to her, within a few days, it stopped. Okay? You go give her another one. The same thing has happened. I've been married going on 41 years. I have bought this lady so many watches for this past 41 years. You know what? I can sell you a broken watch. She doesn't do anything. They just quit working. And
Wow.
And this has been since the day we got married. And it is strange. And she said that her mother, the same thing happened. Her mother can't wear watches. I mean,
oh my gosh.
So, I mean, I'm not joking. You can go buy her a watch today, okay? And within a couple of days, it'll be stopped. I don't care if it's a Timex watch. I don't care if it's a more expensive watch than Timex, or you go buy her a $2 digital watch. They stop.
Wow. It would be interesting to have Linda take a brain scan test at one point to have her brainwaves tested and graphed, just to see if there's any anomalies there. That would be fascinating.
Yeah, when she first told me that, when we first got married and I bought her a watch for Christmas, she looked at me and she goes, I really loved it. And she started crying, but she goes, I can't wear it. And I go, why? It'll quit working. And I figured, okay, whatever. She doesn't like the watch. And then that's when I discovered what she said is true. And I've never been able to figure that out. I have never seen that in my whole life. I mean, I have a major electronic background. Back in the 80s, I used to design computer components. I mean, I'm not stupid when it comes to electronics. I've been in broadcasting, my whole life. I mean, I was an amateur at 12 years old. I was a CBer at 10 years old. I mean, my dad was an electronic engineer. It helped develop the SST program at Boeing's. I mean, I grew up around, my dad invented and he was stupid. He invented the solid state ignition system that all cars have. My dad invented it. He invented it. He started corresponding with a electronic company. They sent out engineers to our house, to his little shop. My dad was so trusting, you know. He would give him all the schematics and all the diagrams to everything he was doing. They sent him a token check back, and this was back in the early 60s. I think he got $250, and he signed some paper. You know, we kept telling him, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And then all of a sudden, you know, J.C. Whitney started selling these little transistor ignition systems you could add onto your car. And then all of a sudden, you know, then Ford got their hands on it. And it was my dad's idea.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you know what, Gary, it sounds to me there's probably a real important reason that you and Linda hooked up. Now, I have heard this.
8 kids, that's one reason.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's for sure. And I'll bet some of those kids, if not all of them, have some unique abilities themselves, whether they utilize them or not. It seems to go down the genetic line.
Yeah, but not one of them has a problem, seriously, about this clock issue. Watch. I mean, I'm being... I will sign a paper and you can take me to court on it. It's an honest for God truth. So I don't know if it's something, you know, I'm just wondering if she was implanted something, you know, in her life or something. I don't know. It's just weird that, you know, I just don't understand this. I could see the electronic side. I just can't understand the mechanical side. I just never seen where you can give somebody a watch. And it doesn't even have to be a watch. I have bought her necklaces, you know, with the clock on it, wear around your neck. Same thing. Yeah. Same thing. 2-3 days later, they're garbage.
Well, and here's an interesting aspect of Uri Geller in the fact that he will take watches that do not work. At least this was part of his program when he was doing shows, and he would make all the dead watches in the room work again. So that just kind of goes to show you that there's some kind of psychic or electromagnetic effect that can be projected potentially from the brain, the human brain.
Or something. I don't know. Hey, Tim, I'm sorry we kind of got carried away.
No, that's all right. It's fascinating. Yeah, I've heard about this kind of stuff and stopwatches. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's interesting.
Hey, Michael, by the way, he has a relative that was on the Titanic. Did you hear that? That survived?
Oh, my goodness.
He survived
my wife's
the
relative.
sinking. Yeah.
But, you know, you guys are talking. I'll tell you about my last good UFO encounter was I was up one morning. I was going to work. I was working nursing home for some health insurance. And this is February, and I'm early, and I get there to go to work, and there's sun kind of almost coming up. There was a little breeze, and I had to put a hairnet on because I worked in the kitchen. I was kind of adjusting it, and I happened to look up, and there was this light going across the sky from north to south, and it's up pretty high because it's just a little dot. Now I look up at it a second. You know what happened? It come to a stop. Dead stop, then faded away from me like a rock dropped into a shiny rock in a pond, and it stopped and went away from me within 5 seconds. So, you know, you realize people saying, well, they look, but, you know, I mean, they must have been aware of me, seeing them, whatever, you know, I mean, to stop that quick coming into my perception. Now, I don't think they were lit up. What I think is, I got the feeling is they weren't aware that their craft was reflecting light as they were moving across the sky and that somebody seen them. But, you know, when you want to hook up have a implant so they can find you, I think there's more to hunting people down than just having to put a tag on them. You know, kind of goes along with stopping watches is interesting.
Oh, yeah, it is. So, I mean, you know, I don't know. What do you think of tonight's, are you still there, Michael?
I sure am.
Yeah, what do you think of the topic here tonight?
Oh, this is just great, because I'll tell you why. when Patient 17 came out, the movie about, I suppose it was the last patient that Dr. Leir worked on. Tim, what number were you? Do you have
I was number 9. I was number 9.
Oh, my goodness.
See, his first 8 are in his book, and then I was number 9.
Yes, you were one of the early pioneers, obviously, of this entire thing. But when that movie came out just recently, it's a very good film, by the way. I believe it's produced by Jeremy Corbell, who is also currently doing the Hunt for Skinwalker Ranch with George Knapp and some of the things that they've been working on. But it's good to have the patients actually coming out, like Tim, and making statements now and corroborating some of the things we've heard about. Because we've only heard the bits and pieces that were leaked out or given on purpose from Dr. Leir's research, and I just love it the way Tim is fleshing out the details and his feelings about this whole situation.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I haven't got a chance to talk here for several years. Like I say, I was on the one program, but they really wasn't interested, and they're wanting to talk mind control, and I don't think they understand what I'm trying to tell them. So it was interesting there too. But to get on somewhere and be able to talk, it's really and like I say, kick things back up a little bit. Yeah, and I'm glad to hear the input you guys are giving me.
Well, it just proves that Tim, that there's strange things out there that's totally unaccountable for. I mean, there has to be a reason why you were selected for, number one, for that implant, and two, I mean, how many people walk around on this planet and never seen a UFO? And then in your case, you've seen several, and Michael, haven't you seen a UFO yourself?
Oh, yes, I have. Matter of fact, I've taken some photographs that are very weird and unusual as well, with circumstances that seem to be missing time involved. So it's just one of those things that a few people out there, you're correct, have multiple experiences for some reason, and that's very unusual.
Well, that I think is because maybe they're not just watching you. They just want to know how you react. Let's say you have an implant in you, and they want to know how you react when you see another UFO. They want to see if maybe in your thoughts, if you remember anything. The majority of the people don't remember being abducted till they've gone for regression, and I still can't believe some of the stuff I've been told about regressions, because I debunked one on my show recently. A lady that said that when she slipped up and the years just couldn't match, and but it's just so scary when you think about things. When I think about and I had back in the 70s, right? I saw what I saw. Me and my ex-wife, both, in the car. I mean, being all lit up like that. And then, it disappeared. I go to myself, wow, this is really weird. But, I kind of shoved it away for quite a few years. It did one thing, like I said, it did open my mind up into the paranormal. Because when I started in broadcasting, after I got out of broadcasting school, one of the stations, they said, well, do you want to do Top 40? Or we're thinking about doing a talk show, and you can choose any topic. And I said, hey, I want to do a talk show. And we started talking about witchcraft and occults, and that's what got me going into the paranormal. But, maybe if I would have never seen that bright light, I would have never even thought about it.
No, I think you're correct. There are certain things that happen to us during our lifetimes that seem to ingrain a path for us that might be unconscious initially, but then you actually get into it and get a passion for what you do. And you obviously have a passion for this paranormal and ufology issues. And matter of fact, I always have to give you a compliment, Gary, that